Catch This Guy podcast. This is your host, Sweet Tea. As always, you can catch us on Twitter at CTS Terry or on Facebook by searching for the Catch This Guy podcast. We appreciate you tuning in as always. We got a fun episode ahead of us. Obviously, we've been off for a while, so if this is your first time listening, thank you for tuning in. And if this isn't your first time, thank you for coming back. So, obviously, the world and most people listening in the United States are currently consumed with the coronavirus. I don't want to sit here and, spin some conspiracy theory that this was created in a lab or anything like that. No. I think it's natural. I just think that the reaction to it is unnatural, and that is something that can be controlled by, the higher ups. And things don't seem to be adding up entirely, in my opinion, because there's this stimulus bill that's passed, and great, everybody's going to get $1,200, or, people that qualify will get $1,200. But how many of those people that are qualifying have already spent or lost that in wages over the past month? Like $1,200 isn't going to make up for what they've already lost and spent combined. And it's unfortunate because, this isn't a long-term solution, and a lot of people are going to be thoroughly impacted by it. So, I encourage people to just, spend their money wisely. This is the time to go to alternative brands and stuff like that. If you're typically eating goldfish or whatever, whales aren't actually that bad of an alternative. That's just one example, just as a way to save a little bit of extra money and try and keep track of your money. I always write down a budget and keep a budget personally. But, that'll help you kind of make your money go a little bit farther through these uncertain times. But back to kind of what I was getting to is there just seems to be a lot going on that doesn't seem to add up. Because everybody knows that going into this 2020 election, if it's Biden versus Trump, that Trump's more than likely going to win. I mean, I'm registered Democrat just because there's only two options, but now more or less it seems like there's only one option because the way that the Democratic Party behaved this primary season was just really appalling, and goes to show you that both sides will play dirty when push comes to shove. And for them to think that this is the best candidate for them to win is pretty foolish in my opinion. So it makes you wonder, if they're as smart as they portray themselves, why would they pick a candidate that they think is going to lose? Just leads one to wonder. So on top of that, you've got there's the political angle, both, as far as the parties go and the allocation of resources. Not all that 2.2 trillion is going to the American public. There's a lot of corporations and people that are going to benefit, and local governments that are going to benefit from this as well. I saw that universities will be getting money, and certain percentages of the money that they receive are to be allocated towards financial aid and grants and things like that to help their students. And then the whatever the difference is that's left over is to be allocated at their discretion. And it's things like that that just concern me because, what is their discretion? We will just have to wait and see as usual. But, things like this seem to be happening at a more rapid pace. And if you're looking at it from a big picture point of view, it just doesn't seem to sit well, at least with me. And I mean, I don't know if it sits well with you or not, but it seems like a lot of things are being stripped away, and we're just encouraged to be complacent with it. For example, a lot of people are being forced to, stay at home or are being, confined and limited in their travels. So, that's having a lot of emotional and mental impacts on people. I know people that are, used to a certain routine, going to the gym every day and, going to work, things like that, etc., are kind of going a little stir crazy, for example. But this is the time where, you need to delve into those hobbies or things that you've lost touch with over time because of the routine that you've developed. And if that's difficult for you, then, you need to maybe reflect on why that is, and maybe reflect on what truly does make you happy in the meantime. And that's not wrong. Taking time for reflection is always a good thing. So if you find yourself going a little nuts or anything like that, or bouncing off the walls, try playing some chill music, meditating maybe a little, or just doing whatever helps you relax, and just thinking about, what truly makes you happy in life, and what are things that you can't live without, for the rest of your life, and try to focus on more of those, values and morals or hobbies, whatever that, those things may be, and try to apply them more to your daily life so that you can have a healthier, work-life balance if and when we return to work. And, if we're stuck like this for a while, at least you'll be doing things that, bring you a little bit of joy and will keep you from bouncing off the walls. I know personally I've been trying to get back in touch with playing the piano. I learned how to play when I was, really young, and I played until I was like 13. So I think it was about 6 or 7 years. But, I'm taking this time to get back into learning the sheet music and everything like that, and it's fun. I haven't really had the time to do that for a lot of years, so it's nice to revisit that. I've got friends that are, getting back into painting, exercising, working on their bodies, things like that. I know some people have been going for really, really long walks. Just whatever they can do to keep themselves healthy and, constructive. But just make sure if you go on walks that you're not, interacting too much with others, and try and stay safe. Because, it is still a serious illness and needs to be taken seriously. But that doesn't mean, you need to be completely rude or terrified of other people. Just be responsible and, don't act hysterically. That looks all right. How about you? How do things sound on your end?
I'm getting frisky.
All right, good. Things are looking pretty good here. All right. I think things look good. So, where do we begin?
Let's start with I'm very upset right now with FedEx. So, or a Walmart. I haven't decided which one.
Well, you should always be upset with Walmart.
They had the lower prices this time and the free delivery, but I'm a hostage of capitalism and consumerism. So I take the best deal, and they so far screwed me. And at this point, though they're trying to blame it on FedEx and FedEx blaming it on Walmart, I called the whole thing off. I ordered from some Chinese website, but now I feel unpatriotic. And I don't know where I stand on this. Like, do I hate China? Because they gave us the Chinese, the Wuhan, the coronavirus. I can't really. Is this a politically correct discussion? I don't know. But should I be upset at China? Should I be mad that as an American consumer, everything in my home is from China? Do I still get to be angry at China, or is that hypocritical? I don't know.
Well, I think in this context it's probably hypocritical. I'm just, I'm not trying to call you a jerk or, because everybody's guilty of the same thing, but I don't think there's any right to be upset given the current health situation. That would just be feeding into the hysteria, in my opinion.
And from what I understand, in China, mainstream media is reporting that this is, in fact, an American-made virus, that American intelligence, like the CIA or organizations like this, went in there and actually created this virus and purposely spread it as a biological warfare, and that this is common rhetoric right now.
So isn't our president saying the same thing, or hasn't he made slight accusations of the same thing?
That China was responsible for this virus?
Mm-hmm.
Our best information at this juncture, if you're trusting again, not just mainstream, but World Health Organization, CDC.
But I'm saying what our president's saying.
Our president's an asshole.
Yeah, but our president is what drives mainstream media. So one could argue that our mainstream media is pumping out the same rhetoric that the Chinese mainstream media is, as you're saying, as you're suggesting.
Mm-hmm. Because we're not getting our news. We're not going to the BBC. We're not going to Italian media, French media, South African media, Australian. We're not doing that. You and I are, like, we're going to CNN. I'm going to NPR. Obviously, I'm a public radio guy. I don't know where you're going. Where are you going for your news, by the way?
So typically, my approach to news, since you'll be happy to hear that I cut the cord, has been Google News. Like, I'll just go to Google. I'll go to Google News. There is like a suggested for you section that, obviously they monitor, your online activity and everything and tailor headlines to you in that regard. But then the other sections are just world headlines, U.S. headlines, local headlines, health, science, things like that. And there's a variety of different sources. There's NPR, there's Reuters, there's, sometimes Al Jazeera will be on there, BBC, CNN, Fox, everything's on there. So there's a variety of sources.
You don't have an iPhone.
What'd you say?
You don't have an iPhone.
I do.
You do have an iPhone. You're getting Google News. Okay.
Yes. Well, I just go to Google News. I just go to Google the site and then just go to their news tab.
Apple allows this. They don't try to ding you for this. They don't try to persuade you to come to Apple News.
Nobody persuades me to do nothing, man. Like, that's what I'm telling you. Like, I just go to But Google's not persuading me to do anything, or Apple's not persuading me to do anything, because I'm just going to the browser and just going on the news tab. It's just. You
believe all this thinking that you have is based on your own. You're doing all this thinking on your own. You're not being manipulated or influenced.
Well, that's why I try to read a variety of different sources and not just read from the same one or take from the same one all the time. That's why I like the other point that I was going to make about Google News is for the majority of the stories, there will be a headline from one source, but you can click on, a little widget or whatever below it and access other sources. So, if the NBC headline is the headline there, you can read that one. Or you can click on it and read the same story on other sources. So, CBS, like I said, BBC, like they could all have their own spin on it. So, you can read it from a number of different angles and make a accurate judgment on your own. That's what intelligent people should do. Or you can just, believe that it's all fake and, I don't know, go do the research yourself, buy a fucking plane ticket and do all the journalism yourself. I don't know.
You can't buy a plane ticket. You're not allowed to travel anywhere. So,
well, that's bullshit, because there's been people fucking flying around, man. There's fucking planes coming into the airport every day.
Who are these assholes?
I don't know.
Are you planning any travel?
Am I planning any travel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You coming to Arizona?
We'll have to see. I'd like to work it into my schedule, and if, depending on, what my employment situation is in the future, I might have, more availability. I don't know yet. The big thing that I currently have in my itinerary is I'd like to be able to go to New Orleans for Mardi Gras next year.
Oh.
Yeah, trying to schedule a little bit of a reunion. I went on a student ambassador trip when I was younger, when I was 13. Summer when I was 13, and we went to 6 different countries, 40 students, 3 chaperones. It was awesome. It was great. So it's been, 16 years. But next year will be 17. And, we were all just pitching around the idea, and currently that's the front runner. I mean, we could change our mind and decide to go wherever else, but it would be nice to be able to do that. It would be nice to be able to come down and visit the Southwest again. And currently I've got my cousins all worked up about a cousin's trip to Ireland. They want to go visit the world's oldest bar that was founded in 900 AD. They've got documentation going back 1,000 years for all the bar's different owners and stuff. Leave it to Ireland.
I've never been, only the UK, all up and down the UK, but it all is beautiful. Everything I've seen is
I've been to England, yeah, But yeah, I was there when I was younger, and I missed my opportunity to kiss the Blarney Stone before they put, like a protective cage or whatever underneath it. When I went, it was, open, and that was why I was scared. I was like 6 years old, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to go do that. Like, I'll fall through. I'm a little kid. I don't know if I was in Northern Ireland when I was there. I mean, I've been to a bunch of other European countries, but we're not going to go through that list right now. So, we'll back to basics. Where were we?
We can go anywhere, honestly. We're talking COVID. We're talking travel.
You were upset with China. Well, you shouldn't be upset with China.
I feel as an American, we've been exposed to so much propaganda about China that we have to hate China. I've found every Chinese person that I've met, and I've experienced quite a bit of that because I do work with the Chinese on a day-to-day basis, all very pleasant. And only a handful of times do I want to smack the shit out of some of these guys. But honestly, I feel that's with any culture. Like, I live in the Southwest here. It's very diverse here. Native Americans, I've wanted to slap the shit out of them. Latinos,
I'm sure you've
Mexicans.
wanted to slap the shit out of me.
Yeah. The first time I met you, absolutely. I didn't know what you were, like a Tasmanian fucking devil, though. It was out of control.
Well, I don't think anything's really changed in that regard.
Both. So much hair. You guys put so much hair down the sink. and at the time I was bald, so there was no hair going down the sink. I've never experienced so much hair in my life.
Well, yeah.
Not even most of my girlfriends had this much hair.
But, I don't think that this, I don't really think that this hatred of China or Chinese culture is warranted. And it's actually funny that you mentioned it, because when I was writing down ideas for this episode, I've been brainstorming this, obviously, for like over a year now, because I think it's been that long since I put out an episode. Racism was one of the first things that I put, because I actually watched the documentary 13.
On Netflix.
Yes. Yeah, that shaking was my dog. He had to make sure that he made... Yeah, so you saw that, and you saw how basically there's a clause that does allow for slavery to exist in some form in our modern-day society.
But Kanye West is on that with Kim Kardashian, and here's the thing, and shout out to anybody who's willing to do the research about Trump's signing of criminal justice reform. We're going to say Trump signed it, but you know what? We're going to give credit to the Republican Party who actually put the legislation forward, and we're going to give Kanye credit for that. Everybody hates Kanye. Nobody wants to talk about that criminal justice reform. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, T. I don't know a fuck all about that. But we need to get to the bottom of that. What exactly did that criminal justice reform entail? Because he will tout that as a victory. And I don't know what that means exactly. But that's something that happened.
So, you're saying that we need to do more research on this criminal justice reform?
Absolutely. That should be a topic for a later show. If we're going to talk about racism, we have to know what that Trump legislation did. Because but it doesn't matter. Black men are still getting killed. I mean, that's still happening in Georgia, right? I mean, that's the latest hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
Can't jog anymore. Can't exercise. Nor should you, obviously. Be a couch potato triot. Couch potato triot. Not a patriot. Potato triot, I think is how it's. Stay at home.
Well, I'm way ahead of the ball in that regard.
How's that? What are you going to, like, do you have enough to survive 6 months, 9 months? At what point do you start taking over your local water reservoir and forming troops? I don't know what's the next step here.
Are we talking in relation to COVID or my current life in general?
It's a bit of a both.
Okay, well, as I've stated before, if the coronavirus outbreak were to explode into basically a global epidemic that would result in dystopian society of some sort, or, post-apocalyptic society, my first move would be to commandeer the reservoir in my neighborhood. So this is an idea that I'm obviously, repeating to you, but sharing with our audience. There's a huge reservoir here. I've never actually looked into how much water it holds, but it's enough for a lifetime for me and, plenty of other people as well. So the idea is we commandeer the house at the corner of the reservoir, patrol it daily. There's barbed wire fence at the bottom and the top of it. And, lay some booby traps and stuff up and down the hill. Home Alone that shit. And try and be peaceful from there. It's more for protection. We don't want anybody, if you're going to come up and take our water, obviously we're going to defend it. But, we're not going to go out killing people. I wouldn't suggest that.
There it is. I anticipate. I'm excited about that. All right. So what is the goal of, with each episode and show we do, we have to have a theme, a platform. I feel like we have to organize. We have to outline this shit and lay it all out.
Well, yeah. And that's why, I do have a variety of notes and everything in front of me. I feel like this one has been highlighted mostly by race and ethnic issues so far, but can go any direction. Any direction that you'd like. And yes, I do agree with you. Yeah, most things follow a theme of some sort.
We got to have a couple topics we'll hit on and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this probably initially, obviously, you and I have a lot of camaraderie. Just going bantering.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll get a better feel for what we want to talk about or how we talk about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's been, I wrote down racism as a topic to discuss, like I said. And, there's a variety of things that I wrote below it to branch off to talk about, So you can go any which way with that. But, there's a number of other topics obviously going on in the world. So we can jump on any of those whenever you want.
No, we literally, we'll talk about racism, one topic. Sexism, the second topic, and we can politics, we can have a broad variety of anything, honestly. Yeah.
So hit it.
Should we do racism? We really do have sexy voices, don't we?
Dude, it's I'm so excited. Now, seeing me talk and seeing the waves, and then seeing you talk and seeing the waves, gets me so fucking excited. I'm like, oh my God, it's working.
Yeah, I was going to say, I know we wanted to talk about some very heavy stuff, but labor issues right now are kind of pissing me off, and I'm kind of upset at the employment situation in this country.
Go on.
So I had this happen to me the other day. We were working on a campaign to do outreach to international phone numbers, and my staff was concerned because they would have to use their phone, albeit they were going to use an app to call international numbers. But they were worried that if they called an international number, they would be charged for the call. It's a reasonable concern. I reassured them that we would pay for any of those costs. However, I told them very specifically we would not reimburse them for any 900 numbers that they might call. Now, this person says, well, what's a 900 number? And I said, it's an 80s, 90s thing. You wouldn't understand, And the person goes and Googles it and finds out that it's associated with sex hotlines, right? So complain to my manager. My manager has to work it up the chain, has to go up to the next manager, and they have to file a report, and you go through a whole thing. And I submitted a statement. It was a total mess.
It sounds like what we have to do.
Yeah. So here's the thing. We live in a culture where, everything you say can and will be used against you, number one. So there's that. And you can't joke in a harmless way without somebody possibly taking it wrong.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. Getting upset before you even know the situation seems to be a trend in today's society, and kind of ties into what you were alluding to before. Nobody can take a joke whatsoever.
But we're sensitive, and I think rightfully so. I think if
there's things that are justified to be sensitive about, but we can't lose all sense of, comedy just because people are overly sensitive. Like, that's kind of where, like, comedy blurs the lines. Like, comedy doesn't really have a filter, and that's where people turn to it. But I don't know if it's dangerous.
There's a time and place, though.
Yeah, there's a time and place. Yeah, there's absolutely a time.
In Starbucks, in the line at Starbucks with the cashiers, you need to just get your fucking coffee and get out of the way.
Well,
all right? That's one thing.
Listen, some of us aren't fiends like you are. But all things considered, that would be the appropriate time and place, to crack a joke with somebody.
Get laid on your own time. Get your fucking coffee. Get out of the way. Why is this guy telling jokes? That is terrible.
But at the same time, you know what I'm saying.
So I did this joke at work, and I thought it was a harmless joke. But looking back on it, I could say, they don't take into consideration. I could be talking about Miss Cleo's Psychic Hotline or Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. These are 900 numbers I called, by the way. And Hulk Hogan was a big ripoff, but I'm still angry with him. More of a Macho Man kind of guy to this day.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, if I'm going to choose beef jerky, it's going to be a Slim Jim, right? That's just good marketing.
Snap into a Slim Jim.
So you got to be careful. You got to be careful with race. You got to be careful. You just have to be careful. And I think two personalities like ours, we don't do that. Like we're rogue. We're renegades. But that's not working right now in the Me Too era. And actually, I will point out that I think COVID-19 has done more for the women's movement than Me Too will ever do. Because now women get at least a 6-foot buffer. They don't have to shake hands. They don't have to touch. I can't imagine what nightclubs are going to be like. Because you can't rub up on any girl's booty or anything. This is going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree.
As the states open up. Yeah. Can't hug without permission. Yeah. Just, it's a COVID thing. So, yes.
No, that is a good point. It's a very good side point there. But, yeah, I think one of the biggest things is knowing your audience. And for us, some people just have outgoing personalities. And I feel like in this era, kind of, as you said, this Me Too era, if that's what we want to call it, people with those types of personalities are setting themselves up for failure, more or less.
Yeah. I'm trying to think about what job I'm going to do once I get fired from this one.
Well, that's why I've begun the podcasting. I'm ready to go. I'm going to make this my career, and I'm going to get sponsored.
But everybody's doing that. What is it that we're going to? What is it? Why would people care to listen to us? And for people who are listening to this, why the hell are you listening to us?
Because we're two insightful human beings, and we have very, very soothing voices that lets them know that everything is going to be okay in the world. It might suck dicks today, but I'm going to get fired from my job, and it's going to be all right.
Right.
It's going to be okay. Here I am.
Keep your fucking 6 feet. God damn it.
Are you walking around right now?
Yeah, I'm here in my neighborhood in Arizona, and a little downtown area with a lot of kooky, quirky restaurants and shops that are open but not open. I don't know.
Kind of open for carryout and stuff like that.
Yeah. I got a sign or two.
Well, that's interesting that you mentioned that. 2 things. 1, it's great that you're able to be mobile and do this. And 2, I keep getting emails from Cuff every other week. Every other fucking week. Yeah.
This was crazy. As I was walking around, I just saw 2 staff members from Cuff. and they were sitting outside, and they were asking me what I do, and I said, I told them I was podcasting. I don't know if they believe me.
Oh, that's who you were talking to when you said that.
Well, they're opening tomorrow night officially. We're going to be able to sit down in a restaurant. I'm actually going to go. I have a reservation for 9 because that's legally what I can have. And I'm going to buy the bar.
You should, when you go back in, let them know you were podcasting with your boy from PA. This is where this could be a good spot for Cuff.
If you're in downtown Glendale, Arizona, stop by the Cuff S Cocktail Bar in the West Valley and try the Copper Cuff and my favorite Dirty Gin Martini, extra olives, with Commerce Gin, which is distilled in Tempe, Arizona. We keep it local. And that's the thing, I don't want advertisers like big names. I want local stuff.
That'd be nice. Yeah, so, we can promote that. That's absolutely. I encourage that, And I can personally speak from experience that the ambiance there is fantastic, especially when it's nice enough to enjoy the backdoor patio.
Yes. Actually, I'm going to go ask if I can get that reserved for tomorrow.
Ooh, he's going to buy the bar and the patio. Oh,
that's it.
Yeah.
With what little money I have, with little job I have left.
Yeah, you and I are in the same boat. Ooh, but do you want to hear my new project for tomorrow? I have an exciting project for tomorrow.
Please.
I have this wooden fence that's all painted brown, and I accidentally scratched it when I was dismantling this shed. Just on the one plank. So I'm like, shoot, I got to get some brown paint and cover that up. But then it inspired me. What if I got some orange paint and some white paint?
Oh, God.
I'm going to make my fence a giant Browns helmet.
That's cool. I admire that.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you haven't painted your house orange.
Well, my kitchen will eventually be painted orange. That's where all the Browns memorabilia currently is.
I did think about Manchester blue for my house color.
Yeah, the outside of my house is pretty plain, but the bottom half is brick, so I don't really have much of a choice in that regard.
It's all good.
But
good stuff.
This back fence, that's going to be my project tomorrow. I'm pretty pumped about it.
Okay, send some photos. We'll put them up on the web with the links to everything that we do and all that.
Anything that we discuss on here, I can, attach.
It's fucking... Jesus Christ. Echo boom.
Damn. There's another one coming up.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's such a distinct sound. Yeah, that you produce. So consistent.
Oh, yeah, I'm on point.
Might have to record that and insert it every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, I can just do it basically whenever almost. So, what do you want to hit on? Is there anything in particular?
I think I'm really frustrated with work right now. And again, I don't know. My father, if he heard me riffing right now, he would say, be careful, because he would worry that this would get distributed to the wrong people. But I'm not too concerned about that. Just continuously frustrated at people's anxiety that leads to people being more hyper or anxious or angry, aggressive. And I think it's just part of what's going on in our country right now.
Division.
So now we're all locked up, quarantined, and everybody's fucking pissed off. And we can't communicate face to face anymore. And we were unsuccessful historically with these media technologies. That's why it's always just best to do business face to face, shaking hands, eye to eye. And it's just not the same. Even our conversation right now, as good as it is, it's never going to be as good as it would be if we were in person.
Absolutely. Although I will admit, for anybody listening that did listen to our first episode, the audio quality between us is much better because of my editorial errors, but I'm glad I've learned a lot. I've learned. Let's put it that way. I've learned a lot. Between episode 1 and now.
Right.
Well, I think.
And now.
I think it's putting a lot of people into positions that they're not usually familiar with, and
right.
What I have noticed is people that are kind of accustomed to a routine. I've said this before. We've discussed how people can get set in their ways. Especially when they develop a routine, do the same work. Go to the gym, whatever. They do the same thing.
Conditioning. Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens when that gets broken is people basically start tweaking out, more or less, and they, have no idea what to do. I know somebody that told me one day they went for like a 30-mile walk. I'm like, what? 30-mile walk? Like, that's, it's good to be healthy, but at the same time, like,
30 miles.
Yeah,
I don't even do 30 miles.
Yeah, that's pretty far, like, wow.
Barely get 10.
Yeah, so people are just doing things that are bizarre, and it's forcing them into uncomfortable situations. And what I've found, in my personal experience, is it's good to use time alone to reflect on what's important and what you value most in life. And that's why I feel like this is a good opportunity to share that, with others that, may be in a similar situation or ever find themselves, in a similar situation to anything that we may discuss on the show. That would be one of the best things in the world to me is, knowing something that I shared was able to help somebody else.
This is therapy. Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's a form of therapy.
For us, but, for hopefully
for everybody.
Yeah, for everybody. Yeah, if you choose to listen and enjoy, then obviously it's therapeutic in that regard.
I don't think humans understand themselves. I think there's a complete lack of self-realization, no self-awareness, no emotional intelligence. Nobody wants to look inward. Everybody wants to blame everybody else.
Well, on average.
You got to look at
average.
Man in the mirror. Man in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's the one Michael Jackson song that I can listen to without feeling dirty,
Yeah, I agree. For the most part, most people are like that. It's not everybody, but it seems to be a societal trait, at least in this country. I would agree. I would tend to agree.
But I will say, though, that now that Joe Biden is the nominee and he's going around giving unsolicited shoulder rubs and he's fingering Tara Reid, I've decided I'm just going to listen to R. Kelly and Michael Jackson. I don't give a shit anymore. More so R. Kelly because I felt really bad. But, God, the man makes great music. He really does.
There was one meme. There was a meme that I saw that was it was something about, like, looking at him during the trial and then, like, playing I Believe I Can Fly. It's like same lifetime. Same lifetime, man.
Space Jam, that's where that song came from the Space Jam soundtrack, and they've been playing The Last Dance.
Oh.
And episode 6 or 5 covered Space Jam. I think you just got off of it, right? Mm-hmm. It's a great soundtrack. It's got that Coolio song, Monstars.
That soundtrack for that movie was absolutely fantastic. The intro song.
Which one?
The intro to the movie. Do you remember that one?
Come on, everybody get up. Yeah. It's time to jam now.
Yeah, exactly. Come on, and welcome to the jam. Yeah, it was great.
Those are the same people who did like Whoop There It Is or Whoop There It Is. I forget the name.
Oh my God, that's awesome. And then they're before the game they play Pump Up the Jam.
Yep. That's a classic.
Dude, that's such a good movie. Like, they're going to come out with
this. I didn't know. My college wife, T, she used to listen to that song, and I never understood. I was like, was she really a Technotronic? Because that was an 80s song for me. That was like one of my first cassette tapes that I owned was Technotronic in 88. And they put it on they put it on Space Jam. That's how she knew it. She loved that soundtrack. It all comes back now. Makes sense. Thank you. Pump up the jam.
Dude, what I want an Air Murray shirt. They have Air Murray shirts. So it looks like Air Jordan, but it's Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, yeah.
Is Space Jam, is that a Disney movie? And so we have to have
Warner Brothers.
That's not Disney. It's
Warner
Warner's.
Brothers.
But how would it stream? Because all the streaming now, ESPN Plus or Disney Plus has everything.
It was on Netflix, man. It was.
It's on Netflix.
Last I recall, it was on Netflix. It might not be currently, but it was.
It might be worth a Google.
I have it on Blu-ray. So.
And presently, it is not available.
Damn.
Unless you have $4.
Damn.
Bastards. Yep.
Well, that's why you get the Blu-ray.
There it is. Yep. Alas.
So, yeah, I have found that a lot of people are uncomfortable being around themselves and not being in their routine. And as you said, It comes back to a lack of...
Especially home alone.
It comes back to...
Quarantined.
Yeah, it comes back to a lack of self and emotional awareness.
Yeah. I had a really bad date right at the end of February. Actually, it was a great date that ended poorly. Oh, and in that she just never wanted to talk to me ever again. But she asked me a question, and I don't remember the question. I remember the answer was that I just started loving myself. And I can't say that I've always loved myself, but I've just now fallen in love with myself, especially as I've gotten older. And I've started to grow my hair out too. So it's pretty much when I hit 40. And everybody's asking me, how are you dealing with quarantine? You're such a social person. How do you deal with this? Honestly, I've been preparing for this my whole life. Like, I love hanging out with myself. I'm the funnest fucking person I know. Well, so when I'm alone in my room and I got my... Yeah, well, you and I together, we're just both trouble.
Dude, we need to go back to Vegas soon and really do Vegas.
So, about that.
I mean, obviously.
There's a possibility for Memorial Day weekend, but the Cardinals, I don't think there's going to be any sports. So I have no reason to return to Vegas, number one. Because if I did go, I'd want to go to a game. And I don't think there's going to be any sports played through 2020. I think sports are done. You might get some empty stadiums where they play baseball. And NBA might move in that direction. Hockey, I don't know where everything's going to go. I know the German Bundesliga for soccer, they announced that they're going to try it out. And there's some other sports that are, I think lacrosse is going to do it without a crowd. There's a certain tournament. But other than that, at this point, I know of nothing else. But I don't really miss sports. I'm going to be honest.
So what's going to be interesting? Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really...
It's not necessary. I don't need sports. I love sports, but I don't need sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I mean, it'll be a little more interesting when it comes to football season, to see how people react. But I think what's most interesting is, as they discuss these revenue sharing things in MLB, because obviously there's less income coming in for them. Ooh, poor billionaires. Yeah, oh God,
Fucking poor Bezos, right?
Yeah, right. But
Elon Musk, you poor bastard.
But it is going to be interesting to see how this affects people's viewership moving forward, because if more people are watching from home, then obviously the TV contracts are going to be negotiated in a way that is reflective of that. And what is that going to mean for the consumer?
They're going to gouge us again. They don't need it. It is not. When you backpack into the bottom of the Grand Canyon like I do, you learn what you need and what you don't need real quick.
Precisely.
And quite honestly, all I need is water and a fucking comfortable bed. And I'm good.
And that's what I'm saying.
And comfortable bed does mean air conditioned. So.
And that's what I'm saying. People,
especially in this heat.
People like you and I understand what we value and what we can do with and without in life. Whereas
and there's so many good documentaries out there, and there's so much good shit to read.
And yet people come and listen to us.
So, current books that I'm reading right now, I'm reading about Timothy McVeigh, who is for those who don't know, this was in Oklahoma City. There was a federal building there, and he was responsible for this bombing. He was actually filled a truck with some loaded fertilizer and let it go. So he was able to This guy met the family's actually from the Buffalo area, by the way, the McVeigh family.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we've been up there because you helped me get to Niagara Falls. You were part of that.
Did I drive?
You didn't drive, but you kept it interesting in that seat.
Wait, what'd you say?
You kept it interesting in the back seat.
Oh,
you brought your girlfriend at the time.
Oh, that's
very
not even.
vegan thing.
That's not even.
And we went to that Buffalo Wings place, and she couldn't eat anything.
The Anchor Bar, yeah, that was awesome.
The Anchor Bar, thank you.
Similar to like when we went to Jacobs Field, Progressive Field,
yes,
as some people may call it, and we
yes.
remember when we went
we
up
can
to
recommend.
Remember when we went up to the exhibit that they had upstairs? Never knew that
yes.
that was all up there, and that it was free to access,
right.
and you could just go and check it out whenever. That was super cool.
We were having a great time. I don't know. I mean, it was. I don't know how you drove home that day. But we could also recommend the Rocking Horse or whatever the strip club that we went to. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, something horse. First time anybody took me to a strip club. You just snuck me in
What?
there.
How is it that I'm the first person to take you to a strip? I don't understand that.
Well, I've never, I understand why men find it appealing, but when you're a man of my stature, getting women and, living out those fantasies with women isn't, I don't have to pay for that type of thing.
I just figured nobody wanted to take your crazy ass to a strip club.
Well, no, as you saw, I didn't get too wild or anything, but because, I'm just like, yeah, well.
You're pretty tame.
Yeah, I've seen more interesting things, behind closed doors in my own home.
This is true. I think I do admire. This is another. We'll maybe throw this on the feminism podcast that we do, because as a male, I have been conditioned to sexualize women, and I think that the human body is actually quite beautiful. And that's on. I've come over time to appreciate both the men and female physical structure, the features that we have, but it's not sexualizing. Like, I want to just be able to look and admire and be like, wow, you're a very beautiful person, without it being weird to where I'm like, oh, you're just a creepy guy. You're just looking at my ass in a sexual way.
In Slapshot.
And I want to be able to.
The movie Slapshot, the hockey
Paul
movie.
Newman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He discusses it with his love interest in the movie. He's like, the female body is appealing to look at, not from the male perspective, but also, like, if we're just looking at it objectively versus a male body, it's like the female body is curved, smooth, nice, and then you got the male body, there's just shit hanging off all over the place. It's all hairy, right. This, that, and the other.
You and I are the exception, of course.
Well, yes.
We're in shape. We do a lot of shoveling.
Yeah, as evident. I was going to say, as evidenced by that oleander that I destroyed.
That wicked callus from that.
Yeah, I've been building up some calluses on my hands doing the yard over here.
So you were talking about your yard, and I'm kind of excited for it. I'd like to see some pictures to get a full vision of what you're describing.
Yeah, I can send you some before and afters. Yeah.
I have materials being dropped off on Thursday. I've put down $1,200. Yeah, so anything I can do I want to be outdoors. I want to enjoy my backyard. I've thought about it because everybody always says, "Oh, do a barbecue pit and all this shit." And I'm probably not going to have more than 3 get-togethers a year. So I'm not going to do a whole barbecue thing for 3 fucking days out of the year.
Exactly.
So a little yoga, astroturf, grass area. That way I don't have to worry about watering it and trying to be environmentally conscious.
How's the poinsettia?
And then some of the advice I received as far as what to do with my backyard was, if your yard does not produce food, then it is not working for you. That is a train. You can't.
No, I figured that out.
On a tugboat.
Well, yeah, I'll have my garden. Ideally, I'll plant some tomatoes, maybe some onions.
That's the way to go. I mean, I'm still undecided on my garden, how I want it to be raised bed. That much I know.
Yeah, mine's not going to be raised. Mine's going to be low. I'm sure the dog.
Weeds are brutal.
I'm sure the dog. What? What'd you say? Weeds? Yeah, I know.
The weeds, yeah, the Bermuda grass, everything that's out here that grows. It's.
Yeah, well, that's
so
why.
Speaking of grass, I actually when I walk back to my house and start watering my lawn.
Yeah, how's the poinsettia doing?
Yeah, it's dead. What's strange is that I have struggled. I worked at Home Depot in the garden section, and I learned. I read books. I started getting into it. I learned about extension websites here locally, but everything I did, I fucked it up. and I never could get a grass, outdoors or indoors. So I would buy all these indoor plants and I would kill them all. And that has continued. And my old house, I had irrigation from March through October. But outside of that, I can't seem to master. I just killed another citrus tree in my backyard. And
really?
I don't fucking get it.
You're killing all the trees?
I killed one of the trees, yes.
Jesus Christ.
I know. And I think it's from overwatering. That's crazy to me.
You're overwatering them?
That's what the diagnosis has been.
Yeah, see, I knew it. You were telling me, like, when to water them and everything. I was like, all right, that sounds cool. And now you're out here killing them.
Once a week. Once a week is what we do in Arizona. But maybe in the winter I needed to back off, and so either way, 2 citrus trees, two oranges. I mean, realistically, I should probably put a grapefruits or something different. So I think it's nice to have a variety. But I plan to put more trees. It's not that they will come. With the holes that I leave, I will space out some trees, and
I'm gonna
keep trying.
I wanted to get a sugar maple tree at some point, but maybe I'll get an apple tree.
You said a sugar maple, and then what?
An apple.
Apple, yes. Like I said, I mean, if it's not feeding you, what's the point?
I mean,
I think there's a way to configure it.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to
I do plan to rip out some more oleanders.
Well, let me know if you need my help.
When are you coming to visit again? I mean, I don't see travel being... Are you going to wear a mask, by the way?
When?
Well, are you wearing a mask? I mean, just ask you that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not wearing a mask. I have a gator neck thing, but I also don't go out. I rarely go out.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I wear it when I have to go into places. I mean, other than that, no.
Well, we're lifting the order here, and everybody's anticipating that the numbers are going to increase, and I agree. And I don't care. I got to say, I'm devastated for people who have family and assisted living facilities, and obviously schools are not going to start back up. So they're just starting the restaurants. That's it. They just want to start the bars again. People just want to go out and get drunk. And it's just like, okay, you know what? If you want to jeopardize the health of other people, that's fine. But don't tell me you care about life.
We'll do it live.
Because you don't. I don't know if we don't know. And odds are a lot of people get it, they recover, and we move on. And that's the human cycle. Not everybody makes it, but that's kind of the human experiment that is this world. So
I mean, Charles Darwin would probably call it,
That's right.
Survival of the fittest, but unfortunately, we don't apply Darwin's theories to humankind. I shouldn't say unfortunately, but,
I just wish they would, though. Just be upfront about it. And don't dick around and say it's about the economy. Say, not everybody's going to make it. But that's the nature of this society and this culture.
And the ones that do, this ain't going to happen to them.
That's it. You're going to make a little bit more money because you're taking someone else's job.
Like mine.
Yeah, I really do feel for those living facilities, though, because people can't visit and people can't do anything, and that's really the crux of it all, is that
Yeah, the
Because
lack
if we
of...
open back up everything, and then these people are stuck forever. But they would be prisoners anyway.
Yeah, my great-grandmother is currently in one.
Did you say great-grandmother? You said grandmother or great-grandmother?
Great-grandmother.
Holy cow. How old is she?
95.
Wow. See, I feel like 70 is a good run. Like, what else can you do after 70?
I don't know, man. I want to stick around as long as I can because this is all I got.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
We don't know. You know, you're not a having guy. You're like me, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just want to see as much of this as I can.
Yeah. There's so much world up there, T.
Exactly. I'm going to need all the time I can get.
I'm all in on life.
As we should
as long
be.
as I maintain an active lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But if this quarantine shit keeps up, and fuck that. I don't know how long this is going to go on for.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tough on some people. But you'll be all right. Dedicate your time to your yard.
We'll be all right.
I know. Oh, I know I'm going to be all right. I've been working on my yard. That's definitely helped me get back in shape a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I'm walking around right now, so
I get to play with the dog, too. I got him a nice ball today. It lights up.
You take him for a walk every day?
No, not every day. Especially since we've been doing a lot of yard work. Well, I've been doing a lot of yard work. We just hang out in the yard for hours. You know, he'll be outside for 3 or 4 hours.
The dog deserves a walk, man. Or is it too cold? What's the weather there?
Well, that's the other thing it did. It was snowing over the weekend. And, I mean, he's running around the whole yard with no leash. He gets to piss where he wants. He gets to shit where he wants. He gets to run around. He gets to dig up whatever he wants. He gets to do whatever he wants.
Do you have any boundaries with the fence?
Yeah. Yeah, he can't get out.
Okay.
Although I did find out he does know how to open the gate now, so I do have to get a lock.
How does he not open the fucking gate?
It's yeah.
Does he have keys?
No, he just alright, so the gate has you basically have to lift up this thing and then, it opens. And he found that if he puts all of his weight on the one side, it will pull down the gate enough that if he pushes down on that side and then pushes forward on it, it will unlatch, the latch, and then he can go forward.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he's a little bastard. He figured it out. Because the other day, somebody was outside, and I was inside, and I heard him freaking out in the driveway, and I looked outside, and I saw him doing it. I saw him trying it, he was doing something very specific, he had done it before, and I was like, hey. Oh, and then today, oh, great. All right, so here we go. Now we're on to dogs. Stories of...
Can't you just...
story of being...
Take away his access to the... You have to take away access to that latch rope?
No, I'm just going to put a little, it doesn't even have to be a lock. It just needs to be a curved bolt or something that I can just slide through this little hole, and then he won't be able to unlatch it. That's all. But now we're on to dogs. And me being a first-time dog owner. And he gets out now that it makes more sense now that I know how he gets out, because he got out the other day, as I mentioned, and somebody from the emergency pet place called me because somebody had brought him in, and luckily he has a chip, and they got a hold of me and everything like that. Fast forward to today. I opened the gate just to...
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Ain't got shit on this dog.
I go to open the door, or open the gate, and dude just blows out of the gate because there's 2 kids across the street. He sees these 2 kids across the street. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. He does not bite. He does not bite. I will say that he's a good dog in that regard. But he is.
You say that now.
He's short on manners. He doesn't really know personal space or respect personal space or anything like that. And he likes to jump up on people and stuff. So this dude bolts like a bat out of hell at these poor kids. And I've seen grown men. He's done the same thing to grown men. And like I saw this one guy down the street, like he ran at him, and the guy ran to his car and jumped into his car, like, you know, because he was scared. He's an intimidating dog, but he's just a big dumb idiot, and he just wants to play with everybody. So he bolts at these poor young kids. The one kid was probably like maybe 12, but the other kid was probably like maybe 9. And so the 12-year-old takes off, and the 9-year-old just falls to the ground and starts crying. And like, so my dog, like, you know, does a couple circles around him and sniffs him, and then takes off after the other kid because the other kid ran away. And my dog just loves to like run around and chase people. So the kid runs up onto his neighbor's porch, and at this point, you know, there's all this yelling and screaming from the kids. The one kid's crying and screaming, and I don't know if it was their mother or their sister, she comes outside. She's like, you know, whose dog is that? We go, what's going on? Quit yelling. Like, and he's on his neighbor's porch. So she's yelling from her porch to him on his neighbor's porch because he just ran up there to try and get away from the dog. And the dog's like up on him, like licking him, this, that, and the other. And the owners of that home proceed to come outside, and they're like, you know, what the hell's going on? And my dog, being short on manners, when they open the door, just lets himself inside and decides to go up to the second floor of their place and do whatever he wants up there. So he's fucking around, and I hear this poor guy yelling at my dog to get out. So I'm like, dude, come down here. He chases him down to the stairs onto the front porch, and I scooped him up, and I'm carrying him around. I had to apologize to them. I had to apologize to the woman. I had to apologize to the kids, and I'm holding him, and he's sitting there like, you know, nothing's wrong. He's sitting there like nothing is wrong at all. You know, I'm holding
Nothing
him.
Is wrong.
Yeah,
No.
I'm holding him. He's probably, like, I don't know how heavy he is. He's pretty heavy. Like I say, he's a big dog. So I'm holding him there, you know, and he's not trying to get away. He's not struggling whatsoever or anything like that. And, you know, they're all kind of looking at him like, God, get a hold of your dog. And I'm like, I'm sorry. Nobody said that, but I was just like, they're like, little bit of a scare, and I was like, yeah, you know, I'm sorry. I was like, rest assured though, he's to this date, he's harmless. He's just an idiot, and he's short on manners. He loves to run around. I was like, he will probably try and jump
Just
up
like
on
his
you.
father.
I was like, yeah, he'll try and jump up on you and stuff, but all he ever does is want to kiss people. I was like, he does not bite or anything like that. He's all about just loving. They were a little reassured by that, and I was like, his name is Frank, so if you ever see him around, you know, if he ever gets out again, at least you know he's mine, and I apologize, but, you know, don't try not to be scared of him. And then I offered to, you know, let the kid pet him, but he wasn't interested. The younger kid that was crying, you know, he wasn't interested. He was a little calmer at that point, but, and I told him, I was like, you know, I laughed it off. I was like, I understand you not wanting to pet him. He just scared the crap out of you. I was like, I'll take him home now. They were fine. Like 5 minutes later, they resumed their walk.
People just need reassurance.
Yeah, so my dog ran into somebody else's house today.
Yeah, I don't know why I think it's because I feel I do travel so much that I'm not ready for an animal at this time.
Well, cats are all right, man. Cats will take care of themselves.
I feel it's cruel to not let your cat outside.
Oh, yeah, I don't let my cat outside.
You do or don't?
No, neither of them. Oh, you said it's cruel.
They're not allowed outside.
You said you you feel like it's cruel?
Yeah, to not let them. Cats are a different. Cats don't like containment. They need to roam. They want to roam.
Well, yeah, mine are pretty content. I have a very large home, though, so they have a lot of room to roam in here. I mean, we have, if you consider the basement, which is where they spend the majority of their time, they've got 4 floors to roam around.
Right.
Yeah, so they have a lot of freedom here, and as I've been discovering lately, their hunter instinct is still intact, and they're meeting their quota. I've begun calling them the Mice Patrol. I don't know where, but occasionally, you know, there've been mice in the basement because I will find severed heads or mice bodies at the bottom of the stairs, you know, because they want to gift them to me.
Of course. Treats.
Yeah. I'm appreciative of the severed mice head or heads that I find at the bottom of the stairs, you know, once or twice a month. But hey, that's another perk of having cats, though. I didn't know that they were down there. I imagine it's probably from the addition that was put on the home. I don't think they really covered up the crawl space area very well. So that is going to be another one of my projects. But I believe if they are getting in, that's probably from where they are. But the cats are taking care of it. Because I love animals, and that little thing didn't do a damn thing.
Yeah, we hate humans.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not the nicest.
We really aren't.
Yeah. Maybe someday. There's too much there's too much divisiveness now. There's too much that divides us.
I think that's
John Lennon covered it all in Imagine. So if you just go listen to that song, he covered it all there. He basically anything that divides us is pretty much covered in that song.
Who covered what?
The song Imagine.
Oh, John Lennon. Okay.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Basically anything that divides humanity is pretty much covered in that.
Imagine there's no, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he discusses money, religion, borders, everything. And because those are all things that divide us.
You realize how exhausting talking is.
That's why I said you gotta stay hydrated. Make sure you have a drink. I wasn't kidding.
We've been at this for...
We have been at it for a little bit.
45 minutes, and prior to that we did at least. But I know this Joe Rogan guy does 3 hours, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Like, it just hit me right now, T.
That's fine, man.
I'm fucking spent.
That's fine. Call it for the evening.
It was a shit day, man.
Oh, that's all right.
The boss had to yell at me, had to talk to me, and then I hate looking stupid.
I feel you. I was fully expecting to get walked out, shown the door today, so who knows? And that concludes our second episode of the Catch the Sky podcast. As always, you can interact with us on Twitter at CTS Terry or by searching Catch the Sky podcast on Facebook. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to keep trying to catch the sky.